What's up, people? It's another edition of the New Breed Podcast. What's best new metal podcast from two dudes who are really there. One half of your hosting duo, Jay the Funky Homo Sapien. With me, I have my partner in crime, the notorious T. I am Tim Anderson Jr. Tim, how goes?
Great. I don't have a cool nickname, so
Well, neither do I. It's the horse cow. So, Tim, over your left shoulder, is that bottle empty? Is that Tito's bottle empty or no?
just about.
All right, everybody who's listening,
But
pause this episode.
I have like a bunch more right here.
Yeah, it's all filled out. Everybody, take a pause. Pause this episode. Go get a drink. We'll be here when you come back. This week, we're doing another yearly deep dive. We have worked our way to, I think, this is the high watermark of new metal. This is the apotheosis of new metal. From here, it's sadly, folks, it's all downhill. We're going to do the year of 2000. So, Tim, would you agree that we were around to see it? This was kind of like, this was, dude, everything is great. Everything is
Well,
great. And yeah,
let's start it off with this. You got Y2K where everybody was freaking the fuck out
paranoid.
over
Yep, yep.
absolutely nothing. Like literally, I remember that. Oh my god, when it
Mm-hmm.
hits 12, it's
All the
everything's
computers are going to
gonna
explode. Yes.
we're gonna die. Nothing happened. Everybody had their Y2K parties. Nothing happened. Literally nothing. I remember being in high school, nothing happened. Everyone was thinking like, "Oh my god, all the schools are gonna." No, nothing happened. Dummies.
No, did I tell the story about our New Year's Eve party where some asshole threw the breaker?
No.
Oh, I thought I told that story. It was New Year's Eve, 99, going into 2000. I'm in a house with a bunch of dudes next door to a frat house. My mom passed in August, so I was in a year of arrested development. I was working professionally, but living with a bunch of frat dudes. And we had a massive party in our house. Three, two, one, Happy New Year! Bonk, all the power goes out. And everybody's like, oh my God, all these girls, drunk girls, oh my God, Y2K, Y2K. And then one of my asshole fraternity brothers is, you can hear him laughing in the basement. Like, my bad. And he turns everything back on. Good
That's
times,
a
dude.
that's a cruel and amazing joke at the same time.
Yes, yes. That night ends with people start passing out. People start trying to find someone to go do other things with. And Rob and I are sitting in the living room DJing a party of just us, and we were rotating between Around the Fur and ODB's album,
Nice.
which I can't say the title, but Big Baby Jesus, I can't wait. Yeah, yeah, we were wasted, having a blast. Yeah. So the year 2000, people. For those of you that weren't old enough to remember it, this was a really unique moment in the terms of popular music. This was before digital. This is before Napster. This is before the internet takes over and destroys what we know as a analog monoculture.
How many
This
people do you
is
think listening to this were born in 2000?
in or after?
In 2000, the year 2000.
Probably some. Probably some. I mean, you figure if you're born in 2000, your music taste really started to develop around age 12 or 13. So that puts you, well, what was big around 12 and 13?
Shitty metalcore.
Yeah, it was really bad metalcore, right? It wasn't even the good stuff. That
That
was
was
like,
like the worst period of metalcore.
I checked, when we talked about this, I checked out of music from like 2008 to like 2010, 2011. It was not good. Uh, Again, back to what we were saying here. The, the best decade to be alive was the 90s. And I'm sorry, you could disagree, but you'd be wrong. This is before
Yeah,
Napster,
you would be
before the
wrong.
cell phones blow up, before 9/11, before everything got shitty. This was, we're all drinking. We got hot dog flavored water. Cell phones don't have cameras yet, so you can get away with still being young and stupid. Life was good. New metal was the new metal went from a burgeoning subculture where to a dominant commercial force. It was all over the place. It was on TV. It was in, you walked into the Gap and they were playing Follow the Leader.
Yeah.
This was a big thing. It was huge for a moment, and then it broke.
You
It
know, you
fractured.
know, you know what we should do? We should do an episode on 1990s versus 2000s, the two decades of music, and compare them. I automatically know the 90s is going to shit all over it because
Yes.
I honestly think the 2000s was one of the worst decades of music of all time.
I can't think of many. Well, I'd have to go back and look. There's probably some gems in there. There's some Black Dahlia Murder stuff in there. Well, if you, the turn of the century 2000s, everything
Yeah,
up
yeah,
until
yeah, yeah.
Poison the Well on the scene was hot garbage. And then you have Poison the Well. You have Every Time I Die. You have Dillinger Escape Plan. You have all that stuff kind of blows up in the early 03, 04 type stuff. Um, the mid aughts is got interesting, but then you get into like 2010, and I guess that's the noughties. I guess just buns, straight, straight buns.
I would agree.
Terrible. So
I
let's
think I
let's.
think it got a lot better 2020 and on.
Oh yeah, ever since there was a lot of shit that went wrong during the COVID years, but I think that jump started a lot. And I really think that I'm so sick of talking about AI. I'm so talking here about hearing about AI. But at the same time, Tim, I think with all this internet bullshit, I think the live experience is going to be way more important than ever. I think it's really going to index on that. Um, I think that live music and live events are going to come back with a vengeance. Okay, so here we go. Turn of the century, 2000. Nu metal at this point is the dominant musical scene. It's all over the rock charts. It embraces heavy metal, hip hop, funk, industrial music. 10 years of bands trying all these different things, striking out, getting rich, hitting oil. Ended where we ended in 2000. The This is your Corns and your Slipknots and your Limp Bizkits and your Linkin Parks. Like all this stuff is massive, massive, massive. And we've talked about going all the way backwards, right? With Faith No More in the late '80s, Bring the Noise, Anthrax, Public Enemy. This is where all the seeds are started. 2000, we are at our peak, and arguably, Tim, peak saturation for nu metal. There was a whole aesthetic that went around this, right? This is Jenko's wallet chains, spiky hair, oversized hoodies, facial piercings, right? Like a stupid thing. Everybody out here, I never got it. This was all for younger, the younger set, and they were kind of feeling alienated with the life and with the world. And this was, I hate you, Dad. And this is how they showed that rejection of common society, much like punk rock and hardcore before it, and much like emo and goth and everything that came after it. However, the defining attitude in nu metal is a lot of frustration, anger, trauma, personal trauma. This Jonathan Davis kicked it all off with Daddy. All these influencers today talking about men's mental health, and men need therapy, and men need to talk to people, and men need to be honest about what they're going through. It all goes back to the final song on the Korn debut album in 1995. If you don't have Jonathan Davis crying and whining into that album, you don't have the men's mental health acknowledgement that we have today. Man, that's a hot take. It's a
You
hot
don't
take.
think?
No, I don't think so. I think he normalized it.
No.
He made it okay. He's a grown ass man in a band that's really big and really popular in a very aggressive medium crying.
I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
No, there's nothing wrong with it, but I don't think it would have gotten so big and so open so fast if Korn didn't lead the way.
You don't think it would be accepting? Okay, I got you.
Yes, like it would have eventually become a thing, but I think that was the first example of an aggressive medium guy in an aggressive medium and something which is really aggro, right? Crying and expressing his feelings, talking about his emotions open.
I
So
got you.
I don't know. Maybe that's a hot take. If there's any social psychologists, cultural anthropologists listening, God bless. Give us a call. Come on the show. Let's talk about it. Anyway, this is this is this is the high watermark, right? And everything peaks. I'm going to call it, Tim. Nu metal peaks in October 2000, and nu metal peaks in October 2000 because what gets released? Two albums. October 17th, Chocolate Starfish and the Hot Dog Flavored Water comes out. This is massively successful. This is peak rap rock, Fred Durst bravado, right? On the other side, a week later, October 24th, you have the perfectly polished nu metal band that is Linkin Park release Hybrid Theory,
Oh yeah.
which that album represents inarguably, the perfect synthesis of rap and rock and electronic music thrown into a blender. They had a DJ, they had samples, they had spiky hair, they had tattoos and
Ball
rapping
chains.
and wallet chains. All that stuff worked. Chocolate Starfish sold 1 million copies, over 1 million in the first week, and that was I would say the aggressive side of new metal was that the high water mark is Limp Bizkit. On the other side, you have the melodic, polished Linkin Park, right? Electronic beats. That one sample of how Mike Shinoda found that one James Bond sample and he turned it in backwards for that one the intro that is awesome. It's somewhere. It's a meme. You can find it. Uh, Hybrid Theory becomes the highest selling debut of the 21st century, and it proved that you could highly polish this stuff and make it really aggressive and still be accessible. Cheers. Shout out to Cigar City Brewing Highlight sponsors.
Hell yeah. Let's go.
So Tim, who else puts out landmark albums in 2000? We have January 11th. Kitty comes out with Spit, all female lineup. Actually, a pretty good album. Holds up fairly well. We've never
Yeah,
deep
it's not
dived.
bad at all.
Holds up fairly well. Very abrasive, very raw. And they went on to do some cool stuff. Our friends in Disturbed, March 7th, put out The Sickness. Yeah, not, no. Moving along. This list gets better, it gets worse. Papa Roach, April 25th, comes out with Infest. Tim, you gotta listen. You gotta listen to the title track off that album. Just listen to it after this. Because I'll go outside with my windows open. I don't even need to go outside. I have my windows open. I will hear you screaming, "This is garbage," from Delco if I go outside.
Probably.
Just it's bad. June 20th, Deftones put out The White Pony, which is the defining album for them. This shifts them from new metal to the Radiohead of new metal. And this is where they start becoming what they have become today.
Which is the greatest album of all time.
That is probably the best album in their catalog. You also, so fast forward, August 22nd, Mudvayne puts out LD50. Now, no matter what you think about Mudvayne, this was a very technically progressive, mathy sort of new metal with the faces and Berber Dang and all that stuff. Still a great album. We've never deep dived that, have we?
Mm-mm.
We haven't done Mudvayne. All right, we're going to come back to that one. We talked about Chocolate Starfish. We talked about Hybrid Theory. At this point,
Wait, have we never done LD50? Are you
I
sure?
don't think.
I could
Here
have
we
swore
go.
we did it with somebody,
Uh,
some guest. Let's look it up.
we're gonna go to our
I think we've done LD50, but we've never done the second record.
New Breed podcast. Mudvayne.
Could have swore we've talked about that record.
We've talked about Ozfest. Man, look at this. This is from 5 years ago. My lord. The new wave of American heavy metal. No, we have never done Mudvayne.
Hmm. That's
Limp
very
Bizkit.
surprising.
That is really kind of wild. All right. Note to self. Note to self. We have to come back and do LD50. All right. Tim, at this point, what else is going on in extreme music? Well, I can tell you, at this point in 2000, In Flames releases Clayman. So this is the Gothenburg sound moving from the aggressive metal that they were producing over there to more a hooks songcraft. Like this is shit that can play arenas. And they basically redefined melodic death metal. They redefine it in one shot. And this also helped them. This helped them to prove that even if you're making extreme music and you're in really aggressive mediums, you can still get a lot of not underground but above ground success. In Flames eventually tours with Slipknot. It's huge. It's huge. American death metal bands, they were going in a different direction. They were getting kind of wild and technical. So Nile puts out Black Seeds of Vengeance in September 2000, which is just they got away from all that groovy shit and just went into a totally heavy technical death metal sound, which is awesome. Mayhem releases Grand Declaration of War in June. This is a highlight black metal band. Are you a fan, Tim?
Oh yeah,
I think I saw them at Psycho Las Vegas. We lasted 2 songs. The sound was bad. We had to leave. I think.
that's
Uh,
terrible because
uh,
their new record's great.
what else? In Flames, Nile Immolation puts out Close to a World Below.
Oh, speaking of immolation, that new record's fucking rips.
Is that the band that I don't like?
That's crazy. You need to
No,
listen to
I
that.
think
That shit is great.
it's Incantation doesn't do much for me.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Electric Wizard puts out Dope Throne, which is amazing stoner doom metal. Like I have a weird sweet spot, soft spot for stoner metal. Caius, Fu Manchu, Electric Wizard, Sleep, Monolord. I have a weird hankering for it.
Yeah,
Can't
you like
explain
that
why.
stuff. Yeah.
Can't explain why. But there was a lot. But we bring up all these bands to say there was a lot of different things happening in 2000, not just in new metal, but some of the other underground sounds, some of the other extreme music genres were doing some of their own things, and they were working their way towards relevance. Which, when new metal finally pops, we're at the point now in 2000 where it's out there. When it finally pops, all this shit is going to rush right into the vacuum. We would be remiss if we didn't talk about the importance of Ozfest. Ozfest reaches its high water mark in 2000. I also think Ozfest reaches another high water mark. It has another peak in 2004, 2005, where they make the metalcore switch, and they're only pulling in great bands. We've talked ad nauseum about Ozfest. It was meant to be an alternative to Lollapalooza, where we use more extreme bands. The 2000 tour is sponsored by Sega Dreamcast. Garbage platform. Sorry, Jim Beam. We convinced you to buy one. This tour was truly a transition between the old metal guard and the new metal guard, the new wave of aggressive artists, which eventually peters out fairly quickly. The second stage of Ozfest 2000, Taproot, POD, Disturbed, Soulfly, right? Ozzy in this instance, in this juncture, he's basically the new metal kingmaker, right? Whoever he's taking out on Ozfest are the bands that are going to get the eyes, get the record company attention, and they're the ones who are going to blow up next. So let's I mean, Tim, here we'll take a bit of a side note here. The full lineup for Ozfest 2000 in America. The main stage was Ozzy, Pantera, Godsmack, Static X, Incubus, Methods of Mayhem, POD, Queens of the Stone Age, and Apartment 26. So you've got Ozzy, groove metal, butt rock, new metal, new. And 2000, what was Incubus? Did they make the turn yet? No, they were Make Yourself. So they were still new metal adjacent. Methods of Mayhem, shout out to Tommy Lee. If Twilo is listening, please come on the show. POD, new metal. Queens of Stone Age, that was the rock that was coming in. And Apartment 26, which is new metal. Second stage. Here we go. Soulfly, new metal. Kitty, new metal. Disturbed, started out new metal. Now it's butt rock. Taproot, new metal. Pitch Shifter, industrial but new metal. Slaves on Dope, new metal. Reveille, new metal. Shovel, new metal. Primer 55, new metal. Deadlights, Primer, new metal, and Crazy Town,
We'll call it new metal.
new metal. Uh, Crazy Town covering Refused is still one of the wildest things I've ever seen.
Is there a video of that?
Yes, on YouTube there is definitely a video of Crazy Town covering Refused. So this was peak new metal. Like, look at that lineup. The whole second stage is new metal. Most of the main stage is new metal. At the same time, Metallica kicks off the Summer Sanitarium tour. So this is Metallica, not trying to remain relevant, but this is them trying to say, okay, uh, we got some legs here. We're gonna do some cool shit, and we are going to come out with some of these younger bands, and we're gonna introduce our fans to them, but we're also gonna introduce their fans to us. So this is the I think this was the first time they did it. Metallica as the headliner. And support was Korn, Kid Rock, Powerman 5000, System of a Down, which is really fascinating because this is Metallica trying to go out with this is Metallica trying to go out and say, hey, you know what? We're hip. We're hip. We're happening. And it kind of worked. It kind of worked. I mean, they didn't do one in 2002 or 2001. The next one was 2003. And if this lineup toured right now, I would pay a ridiculous amount of money to see it. It was Metallica, Limp Bizkit, Linkin Park, the Deftones, and Mudvayne.
Damn.
That is a lineup. If they played Baderfield AC, I remember, and I should have went. No, they actually. You know what, Tim? I'm sorry. Sorry. They played the Vet in 2003. That
Damn, the
is, and they
vet
played
is
Giant Stadium.
crazy.
That is nuts. That is really, really nuts. And then at one point in 2000, they're doing this show. This tour crosses over with Tattoo the Earth. So this was the inaugural attempt of the they were this is them and we've had Scott Alderman on. This is him trying to get the counter youth culture, blending heavy metal music with body art, tattoos, piercings, whatnot. Slayer, Sepultura, Slipknot. It was the lineup is Head PE and Head PE and who else? Nothing Face and Mudvayne and Hatebreed and God, there were so many bands. It was E Sham, Jesus, Nashville Pussy. My God, there were so many. There were so many on that show. This was the show was nuts. Like the whole tour was read anybody who's really interested, read Scott's book. It's a really fascinating read. We actually had him on the show. Go back and troll our archives. You'll find the interview that we did with him. They had they nearly set Slipknot on fire in Lawrence, Kansas. They played in a pressurized dome somewhere in the Midwest where they had the pressure in and out. It was totally insane. Um, Scott lost his shirt. The promoter lost his shirt. On this tour, which is a shame because it was unbelievable. And then he tried to come back and do it again. And I think the same thing happened. He just got all screwed up again. Truth be told, we're talking about in 2001. 2001 is the death knell for Tattoo the Earth because they try to do somebody else steals the name, tries to do it in the UK. 2011 September 11th happens and things go to crap. But I am always glad to say that I went to see that one in Giant Stadium, which was amazing. Still got the t-shirt upstairs. All right, so what's coming out, Tim? What
the,
trends
the
are
the one that you get made fun of for leaving.
was that the one? No, I got made fun of sitting outside at Ozfest
That's right. That's
because
right.
it was a giant stadium and Pantera was so goddamn loud. I went out the exit and sat right so I could see the stage through the tunnel. And somebody made fun of me. He's like, "Oh, you went outside.
Stupid
It was too
bitch.
loud." What? You probably weren't even born yet. Shut up.
Yeah.
Shut up. Don't want to hear
This
that
dude,
noise.
you fucking believe this dude?
Hey, went outside for Pantera. Yo, I've seen Pantera 6 times the original lineup. How about you? How about you?
Zero.
Exactly. Exactly. Sit down, put the pacifier back in your mouth. All right, so what's happening, Tim? Aside from new metals cresting, some other stuff out there, the Gothenburg scene over in Europe, we got some black metal, we got some doom metal. What else is happening? Well, we've covered this probably a bit. The new wave of American heavy metal is starting to develop in 2000. And in the early 2000s, the next couple of years, 2004 is where it really sets in. This is bands that said, forget it, we're not doing rap metal. We're going back to thrash. We're adding hardcore breakdowns. We're going to get nuts with it. This is Unearth. This is Killswitch. This is Lamb of God. This is God Forbid. This is Shadows Fall. This is Chimera from album 2 forward. These bands are all local, but by 2004, they are the mainstream standard. And their sound, if you haven't heard any of these bands, I don't know what's wrong with you, but their sound is a combination of that weird, not weird, but Swedish melodic death metal, that sort of riffing. There were some guitars with hooks, no turntables, no electronic samples, and again, hardcore breakdowns. One of the cooler parts, I will say, when we transitioned from new metal to hardcore to the new wave of American heavy metal, it was kind of a cool time. It was really, really a cool time.
A lot of great records, a lot of great bands. Definitely.
So many, so many. So the other thing that's happening, Tim, is we're starting to get and I think this stuff is junk. um, garage rock, the indie alternative
Oh
stuff.
God, yeah.
This is the White Stripes,
Ugh.
the Strokes, Interpol. I mean, this stuff isn't yet um, big name brand type sound, but it's bubbling below the surface, and it's crap. Not a fan. Not a fan. Seven Nation Army. If I never hear that song again, I will die a happy man.
Oh God, it's one of the worst songs of all time.
It's been overplayed to the point where it's buns. It's just buns. New wave of American heavy metal, garage rock. We also have our third wave emo stuff coming around, right? This is emo, screamo. This is bands breaking out. Uh, 2001 Thursday releases Full Collapse, right? We're leading up to that, but this is
Incredible record.
Hot Topic. Hot Topic really blow. We just did an episode on Hot Topic. I should be out by hopefully before this one. This is that stuff blowing up. And again, you're coming off the aggression that new metal had. You're getting more sensitive and more introspective. And your emo kids replace your mall goths, which was the derisive tone name of new metal fans with the big pants and the spiky hair and all that. The emo kids replaced them, which is really interesting. And we have new metal reaching its high water mark in 2000. You have the new wave of American heavy metal dominates from '04 to '08. You have the garage rock stuff from '01 to '05. Emo is '03 to '07. And then we end up with what's called minivan rock, which is post grunge, clean cut, radio friendly. This is the shit that all came out after 9/11 because people were looking for something wildly different because of the general cultural milieu of the time. And we're going to talk about that when we do the year 2001. One of the things, Tim, I'd like to talk about, there's a couple albums I think we should address. Uh, Debut albums in 2000 that got overlooked. So, the first one I'm going to talk about with, it wasn't their debut, but it was definitely their coming out. Violence by Nothing Face.
Hell yeah.
This is uh this was they had an audio guide to Everyday Atrocity, which was the album prior. Pacifier was before that, both like indie label, small label releases. This was a big deal. They should have been multi-platinum in hindsight. They really should have. This should have been huge for them. It was polished, but Matt Holt has a voice like he's comparable to Corey Taylor in a lot of respects. He really truly is.
I think a lot of people would agree with that statement.
I mean, they were a great live band. They would blow. I mean, I saw them at Tattoo the Earth. They blew Mudvayne off the stage, and the Workhorse Movement. Shout out to Nick Box. They never reached the status they should have. They had one more album after this. The band disbands. Matt Holt eventually passes away. I think one of the other guys in the band eventually passes away. Actually, the anniversary that just passed. They were a band's band, kind of a shame because they had a lot of talent. They just never got recognized for it. Another debut album came out in 2000. A big personal love of Tim and I. Alien Ant Farm puts out Anthology.
Ugh, I'm
No,
good.
no, no moss, no moss.
Trash
Uh,
bag.
eh, movies. No thanks. No thanks. Not my thing. Not my thing. We need someone to come on and defend Alien Ant Farm. If someone's listening, not John Detox, because he's always the guy who volunteers to wade into the fray. If one of our
But
fans, listeners, subscribers, you want to defend this album and try to convince Tim and I that it's not as bad as we think it is, reach out, leave a comment. We'll get back to you.
but at the same time, please don't.
No, we need to talk about this.
Uh,
Mm,
what a trash. That's a fucking.
Who was it that I had to convince that Methods of Mayhem was a good album? Was it you and Orion? I
I
think it
forget,
was
but
you and Orion.
you didn't convince me.
Well, I didn't convince anybody, but I made an argument. Shout out to Orion. Hope he's doing well in Florida. All right, last debut album that came out in 2000. I think we should talk about Tim. Apartment 26. This band got a lot of love from you and I, if I remember correctly, when we did our third wave new metal March May Madness draft.
Hallucinating.
Yes, yes.
Great record.
We liked it. They played the second stage on Ozfest. They played the main stage in the UK Ozfest. They got a lot of exposure and they developed some momentum, but at this point it was too little too late and the industry was moving into a different direction. And it's sad that, that bands sometimes are too early or too late. We've talked about, I mean, we're eventually going to do a deep dive on From Bliss to Devastation by VOD, Vision Disorder. They were a band that I think was always 2-3 years ahead of the trend. When you listen to what they did with the Drip album, the self-titled, with Imprint, with From Bliss to Devastation, they were always a little bit too far ahead of their peers. They kind of outkicked the taste coverage, and it never landed. It never worked out the way it should have for them. They should have been absolutely massive.
I agree. We've talked about it many times, but you know, is what it is at this point.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So we're coming up on wrapping this one up. I think it's Tim. I think it's safe to say that at 2000 we have the high watermark. We have the apex of new metal. But coming up right behind it, you have emo. You have the new wave of American heavy metal. You have the Gothenburg sound. You have all this stuff where it's coming into its own. Lurking in the shadows, though, is Napster, is the internet allowing you to spread music around. So once that happens, your pop culture, your main culture, monoculture, where everybody's into the same sort of thing, wildly fractures because everybody can get into different things in different ways now. But this is everybody take a minute, pour a little out for those of you that are of age and drinking, pour a little bit out for the 90s and the summer of 2000 because that was folks. It only gets worse. Final thoughts, Tim.
It does get worse. I'll tell you that much as it goes. I think the year of 2000 with record releases is honestly an unbelievable year because you have just to go back on it, you have I think you could say two monumental albums released, which one is Linkin Park. I mean, let's
Mm-hmm.
give that its flowers because it's probably one of the best produced records of all time. It's probably one of the best selling albums of all time, and it pretty much solidifies what new metal could be at that time. You have the same thing with White Pony, which is one of the best records of all time. I don't know if it's one of the best produced records of all time. It sounds good, don't get me wrong, but
Mm-hmm.
that is a monumental record in that genre. You got LD50, which is a monumental release in that genre. So right there, you have three records that are just monumental releases in new metal. And I think if you ask 10 people, eight of them would say that.
Yes.
You
Um,
would you agree with that?
I would 100%. I also think we touched on it, but New American Gospel comes out in September 2000.
Yeah.
Uh, Killswitch Engage, self-titled on Ferret,
And
comes out in
this is
July.
where I was going with this. So
Okay, okay.
I'm glad that you did this because not only is it monumental records in new metal, it's monumental records in metalcore, hardcore, probably hip hop. I just can't remember what came out in 2000 at this point. But you got to think in the turn from the 90s to 2000, you're still there. I think when music takes a dip, it's more around 2003, two-ish, three-ish. You're like, it just got stale.
Well, it's the copy of the copy of the copy. New American Gospel, Killswitch, Of One Blood,
Of One
Shadows
Blood,
Fall.
yeah, In Flames.
Unearth puts out the split they did with Undying.
There you go.
Chimera puts out This Present Darkness, their EP, which remember caught fire. They got chased all over the place, and they went right into
Possibility, reason.
no, what's the
Oh,
first album?
oh yeah, duh. What a retard. Oh,
Jesus, why can't I can picture the cover.
yeah. What the
What's
hell is it?
There are people
One
right now screaming,
of my
screaming.
favorite bands, and I can't think of
Chimera
what this title
album,
album's
Pass Out
called.
of
There you go,
Existence.
Pass Out of Existence, which
We
is,
definitely deep dug that.
in my opinion, a monumental record in that genre. That record is perfect. I don't care. I think a lot of people shit on that record. That record's perfect.
No, it's amazing. And here you go, Tim. So hip hop that came out in 2000, the Marshall Mathers LP by Eminem,
That was huge.
Stankonia by Outkast,
Huge record.
Supreme Clientele by Ghostface,
Damn. Yeah.
Like Water for Chocolate by Common,
Okay.
Country Grammar by Nelly,
Huge.
When the Smoke Clears by 3 6 Mafia,
Huge.
Let's Get Ready by Mystical. That album is great. Even
I
though
don't
he's
rem-
doing
I don't
time and
remember what that record is.
shake ass, watch yourself.
Oh yeah, yeah, okay, okay.
Snoop Dogg, The Last Meal.
And I didn't really care.
The W by Wu Tang Clan.
Mm.
The Locks, We Are the Streets. Dead Prez, Big L, Deltron 3030. Jedi Mind Tricks. Jay-Z's The Dynasty.
We Are the Streets is an incredible record.
Skull and Bones by Cypress Hill. Back for the First Time by Ludacris. A big favorite of all mine, which we probably should deep dive this because it's wild. The Notorious K.I.M. by Lil Kim. I can still picture that album cover every time I close my eyes. But yeah, man, there was again, the 90s into the turn of the century was the most amazing time to be alive. I am glad that I was born when I was and I got to experience it when I did because it's been nothing but ever since they turned on the Large Hadron Collider and the time has jumped, our timeline has jumped. Can we go back?
Yeah, but I want to mention this. Even though it came out in '99, you gotta put Slipknot's self-titled in there because
Mm-hmm.
when did that come out? Was that like September, August,
Uh,
September-ish,
it was, I think it
October-ish, something
was
like that? I think it was
not
later, right?
debut release date.
Because you gotta, while you're looking up, you gotta.
June 1999.
All right, June's fine, halfway through. You gotta include that on, in my opinion, because that record was monumental as well.
You're
I
right
mean,
because it comes out in June. There's like a second stage Ozfest, and then they move over to the first stage very quickly because everybody's like, "Holy shit!" So that was an album that got so big so fast it reverberated for another year or two before they finally went in and
absolutely.
did Iowa.
Yeah, and that's pretty much my point. It's like the staying power of that record was huge.
Uh, speaking of Slipknot, I came across an account on Instagram that sells used like Slipknot paraphernalia. They had one of the clown's baseball bats on sale for $300.
How
Should
do you know
we
it's legit though?
everything has a COA. Everything has a
Okay.
certificate. Should we buy it?
I mean, you can.
I mean, Tim, you'll put it up behind you on one of those shelves over the vodka bottles, like one of those baseball thing holders, right? Like
I just ain't spending $300 on a baseball bat. You must be
no,
out of your
no, I'll give
fucking
it to you
mind.
as a wedding gift. And then Brianna's gonna be like, why did Jay spend this
What the
money on a
fuck is
stupid
this?
baseball bat? And then you'll come home and she's like using it to like unclog a toilet or something. And it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah, right.
well, here we are. All right, everybody,
Hey, did you
2000
see
was
the COA? What the fuck's your problem?
I put a plaque on it. 2000 was great. Everybody who wasn't there, if you weren't there, you really missed out. Late 90s and 2000 was a wild time. And we had some really great albums. And sadly, Tim, I know we're going to keep doing these years for at least another couple. Um,
Oh, we're doing the next 20. Fuck it.
dude, really? Like, what are we going to
Oh,
talk
we're
about in
doing it.
2007?
Oh, we're doing it.
All
Because
right.
this is you know why we're going to do this? Because this is going to show us and the listening crowd how music went to shit and then how it came back.
And then now new metal came back.
Yeah,
Yep.
because that's the whole point of it. Like, you got to show that the music went to shit, and then you got to show that it came back. Because there is some great
Yeah.
releases in between 2000 and 2010. They're just few and far between.
I think you're right to say that it also will prove that everything is cyclical and everything comes around at least once, twice, three times. Tim, if I make it to age 70, I'm going to see new metal come back,
Oh my god, yeah.
which is
We got 30 years, so well, 25 years.
another 25 years. We'll see new metal come back.
I think you'll have at least two more of them in the next 25. Because you got to remember that people that are born today are going to think that new metal blossomed in 2025, 3, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
You know what I
right.
mean?
Yeah.
The corn is going to be oldies to them. Like, who? What? This
Like
shit? What
like
is this
like
shit?
like the way we look at, like stuff that came out in the 40s. What was that?
And that's what I'm saying. Like, imagine you're born in right now, and then 15 years from now would be 2040. Well, to say 2040. If you listen to Corn, which came out 46 years ago, we'll say at that time,
Yep.
how weird is that going to sound playing it? Because to people's ears, that's going to sound super weird.
It's
Like if
gonna be
you
like
put
we
on
listened to
like
the stuff on the 20s and 30s, and we're like, "What is this?"
yeah, that's what I'm saying. But at the same time, music recording was way bigger in '94. The processes were better. So maybe it won't be looked at that bad, but that's oldies. At this point, it's oldies right now. So,
Which is completely insane to even think about.
like, if there was an oldies metal station, that would be played. Like, you imagine like the dude coming on and he's like, "Hey, this is fucking what's an oldie name?"
The Wolfman Jack. We got an oldie here for you. We got
Yeah,
Corn with Clown. And it's like, what?
yeah, huh?
Yeah.
It's kind of like you put on oldies '98 right now and like Matchbox 20s on it.
Oh,
Like, it makes you
yo,
feel
that stuff
old
is
as shit.
bad.
Matchbox 20, I forget what that song's called, but yeah.
What's the song he did with Carlos Santana, Smooth or whatever?
What is oldies considered? Is it 30 years?
Golden Oldies is the late 40s, early 50s, or late
But
40s and the 50s. My mom listened to Golden Oldies. That was the 50s.
well, is that oldie station still around? What is that oldie station in Philly
Uh,
called?
in North Jersey, it was Z101.1, and that was the oldies.
Google real quick. Philly's oldie station. See what it's. Is it like
The
100.1 or is that
oldies
B101?
radio.
B101's like chick music, isn't it?
Cruisin' 92.1, WVLT, 50s, 60s, 70s.
Damn. Okay.
WDAS does old R&B. 1065 does oldies time machine, WPPM.
But you remember there used to be a dedicated oldie station like 10 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, again, that's what my mom listened to growing up as a kid. Like, we were so happy when my dad drove because he listened to 80s music. It was pop. Well, he listened to whatever was, Z100, which was whatever was popular.
Yeah, we're talking Philly stations, like people listening actually know what we're talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah, let's get out of here. All right, so everybody, year 2000 was great. It was new metal's high watermark. We're gonna, now that we've documented its rise, we're gonna document the downward trend, and then we're eventually gonna come back up, and at some point we'll reintroduce Hunter Young and Mood Ring. So stick along for the ride, everybody. We think you'll enjoy it. All right. If you're enjoying us, enjoying our show, please like, comment, and subscribe. We respond to all of our comments. We love our subscribers. Even if you don't like what we did, leave a comment. Argue with us. We get those too. New episodes every Wednesday at 12 p.m. New reaction vids on Fridays when the mood moves us. Shorts, snippets, singles on most social media on Mondays and Tuesdays. New Breed underscore podcast, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, New Breed Podcast at gmail.com, 267 297 4627 for your voicemails. We'll see you next week, everybody.